Hey guys, Bjimson Darius, aka BJ here from DearDadPodcast. Now, when I started this podcast, I wanted a platform where I can record and upload my content very easily. I didn't want to go through any hoops to get my podcast out there. When I did start my podcast, I was on a different platform. But after I was introduced to Anchor not once, not twice, but over 3 times by my close friends, I decided to give Anchor a try. I must say, I absolutely love it. Not only is it easy to use, but I am able to record, edit, post, and publish all my episodes right there on the app or the site. I was able to transfer all my episodes onto Anchor in less than 5 minutes. That, for me, was unbelievable. Oh yeah, here's the best thing of all. It's free. It is free to use. Yeah, I know, that's crazy, but take my word on this. It's true. Using Anchor has definitely made podcasts so easy. Trust me, you'll love it. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome to the Dear Dad Podcast, a platform where you can come and express yourself, whether through poetry, spoken words, essay, or simply a live conversation. This is all dad talk. I'm here for you. Let's go. Hello, you beautiful people. Thank you again for joining me at Dear Dad Podcast. My name is Bjimson Darius, aka BJ. And this episode, we pretty much wrap up season 1. So I'm going to give you some insight of the interviews that I had per episode. And then we went through the sibling series. And just probably go by episode by episode so I can tell you my perspective in it, my insight in it, and you know what I got out of it. So what I think was a little bit important to me. So again, episode 1 was pretty much about me introducing myself to the podcast, me introducing myself to you guys so you guys can know who I am and what this podcast is going to be about. And I didn't really have an idea of what I wanted to do. I just know I just need to just start recording. And a lot of the podcasters that I come across, they said, don't worry about what you're going to talk about or time frame. Just start recording, start recording, and then it will come naturally. It will come, whatever it is that you're trying to do, it will come naturally. And that's exactly what I did. I started recording. So I just recorded the first episode just because I needed to just get something out there. And then of course, as soon as I put down the first episode, it became a little easier. So I introduced myself the first episode about what this podcast is and who I am and what I would like to have from this podcast. I have a little overview of what I wanted. But funny as it is, as I started the podcast, it became a little bit more than what I wanted to, or the vision that I had for it. As I discussed some of the snippets on the episode of what I think was important for you to pay attention to, or I thought was a little bit relevant. So as I discuss the episodes, I'm gonna tell you these things. So again, starting with episode 2. Episode 2, I discussed 10 things we should ask or tell our dads. 10 things we should ask or tell our dads. And so a list of things, and we go down the list of the things that we need to or have to talk to or have to ask our dad. And it made a good difference. But what made a big impact was when I introduced the last number, which is the last topic on that chart of 10 things. It was telling your dad that you love him. Telling your dad that you love who he is, or just simply tell him that you love him. And I post that episode and I let it out into social media, and it just became something else, something more than what I even imagined. I even imagined it for it to be. It just generated conversation. As a matter of fact, before I even continue, here's a little snippet of what it sounds like. And as we were exiting, and we were saying goodbye, I went to him and I hugged him. I actually hugged my dad. I'm not saying I never hugged him before, but this was a real hug. And I held him there for a couple of minutes, for a couple of seconds. I held him there for a couple of seconds, and I told him, I love you. He didn't respond the first time. I squeezed him a little stronger, and I said, Dad, I love you. He said, I love you too. I love you too. I let him go. He looked at me. He said, thank you. Exactly what he said. He said, thank you. Thank you for saying that. And we said our goodbyes. And I can tell and I can see a difference in his behavior. I can see a different guy from who he was before to what he is now. He wants to be active in my life right now. It's a difference from the dad that I knew when I was growing up to the dad that I know now. So I dropped that episode and I, again, let it out into the social media, not expecting anything. And again, it generated such a big positive impact. People were talking, people were able to engage, people were talking about questions that they have for their fathers, things that they didn't say. And it ballooned to being something extravagantly, it became more than I expected. And that episode was one of my favorite because it was unexpected. I had no expectation for it, and I had no view of what it might be. I just wanted to just tell my story. I just wanted to let you know how it was for me to just actually tell my dad that I love him. And it was different. Not many people were able to say, but I just wanted to just be vulnerable and just say, this is what I wanted with my dad. And I just hope that, other people can make a difference too, or learn from that lesson. And then again, it generated a big conversation. My wife was talking about it, and cousins were talking about it, friends and family. When I went to family gatherings at my mom's house or my brother's house, it was a topic of discussion. And then I realized it was something more than it became something better than what I could imagine. So when I hear that, and I'm listening and I'm hearing conversation, my cousins and my brothers are having conversation about the topic that I brought up, it changed my dynamic. So I was just like, this is something real. It's making a difference. I need to change it, or I just need to be better at it, or I just need to continue doing it. And that's what I did. So I continue it, and I just now I just wanted to just add other people into it. I just wanted to add other people's views, other people's experience, and see how it was for them, because everybody has a story to tell. Everybody has something they wanted to tell the world. So I just opened the table up to whomever wanted to be out there. And one of the first person that actually went out there and expressed and took that offer was my cousin Evans. And I asked him, and he said sure, with no hesitation. And within a couple of days, we were on and we were talking, and it was a really good podcast. So episode 3 was about Evans and pretty much changing the narrative of his father's view of life and making it a new narrative for himself. So his father had his own views in life and had his own expectation in life for Evans, but Evans' views wasn't his father's. And changing that narrative, especially culture narrative, played a big role.
This podcast is super important to the culture, because especially to the Haitian culture, because I really feel like our generation and the upper generation, our fathers, our grandfathers, they were built to just not be connected to their emotions. So you being an adult and wanting to love, you got to teach them how to love first and break that cycle and release that. And don't hate them. Love them harder than they loved you, and you'll be surprised on how
as parents, we have the tendency to think that what can we do to better our kids? What can we do to sacrifice ourselves to better our kids' future and see what we can do to make a difference in their lives? And that's pretty much our job. Our job is to make a better future for our kids. And sometimes, kids have a tendency to teach us a lesson in life, and that's hard at times, because our job as parents is just to teach, but we tend to forget at times our kids, our sons and daughters, can teach us life experiences even though they are that young. And that's what I got from my next guest, Amar, which was probably the first guest that I have that was not family. Sitting down with Amar Thomas and talking about not just the love he has for his 3 daughters, but the lesson they taught him in life. They taught him how to love. They taught him how to be compassionate. They taught him how to be a little bit less selfish. And it's hard as a father to see that. Sometimes we so stuck in our ways and do our own things, and we stuck in our mind and the way things need to happen, and meticulously how things need to be, that we tend to forget that kids, even though they're young, they are wise. Even though they're kids, they are able to learn and adapt to certain things that we don't even know of. And with Amar's daughters, they were able to teach him so much in life. They were able to teach him so much about life, or about his life as a dad, as a person, even as young as they were.
Becoming a father was the biggest blessing that I could have been given, because it from henceforth, from that point on, it really shaped who I was, or who I am continuing to become. And so, prior to the kids, I was very selfish, had very little accountability. And so I think that immediately gave me some accountability. It immediately gave me something to work towards, some responsibility. It immediately gave me a lot of perspective. I had to sit back and see what I was doing and start to immediately take corrective action. But the most important thing about fatherhood, and I have 3 daughters, is fatherhood taught me how to love. Okay. I think prior to that, I was confused what love was. We naturally love our parents or our family in a certain way, shape, or form. Some of us, although we love our family, we don't get to choose them, so they're just there. Right. So we love them, but I don't really want to deal with them. Your children are different, and them being me having daughters, it helped me learn to value women in a different way. Okay. And so it taught me love in a way that I didn't know it.
You know how much a parent, a child, a father love their children, their kids. When they're talking about them, they glow. When they are in public, or they're talking to a stranger, or they're talking to a friend of theirs, they glow when they're talking about their kids. And that's exactly what I got from Amar when he was talking about his kids. And I love to see that. I love to see a parent talking about their kids and gloat about them and boast about them, because it shows me that they care, and it shows me that they love their kids. And I enjoy that. And that's exactly what I got from Amar. Again, I love seeing that. And he did that really well. Now, episode 5, where I talked about the first day I became a father, first day I became a dad. And I love telling this story to whomever I come across, because it tells, I'm able to tell the world, I'm able to tell the individual how it felt when I first had my son. And then the feeling of having this kid in my hand, the feeling of seeing him for the first time in my life made such a huge impact in my life. So today, he's continued changing my life and changing my character and changing who I am. And I elaborate on the first day I saw him, the first time I spent time with him, and the time I held him, the time that I kissed him, and the time that I just took him in and became father for the first time. And I embrace that time each and every time that I can. And I reflect on it from time to time. And every time I talk about it, it gets me a little bit emotional to just think about how much love that I can have for someone, how much love I can plug into someone and still have more to give. He loves unconditionally. He loves without thinking, even though he does things, he might be doing things that maybe bother me, or that can be annoying at times, but it doesn't change the dynamics. It doesn't change the love that I have for him. And I see it now, and I see how it is and what it is to love someone unconditionally. Loving this kid made me become a different person, and it feels so great to have someone like that in my life beside my wife, that I can show that much love to. My wife called out to me and said, "He's here." And I was like, okay. She was like, "He's here. He's so beautiful. He's here." And I was afraid to look at him. I was afraid to look at him because I don't know if I was ready. I didn't know if I was ready to be a dad. I don't know if I was ready for this life change. I didn't know if I was ready to become a dad. I wasn't ready. I was so scared, and my wife told me to look. And I look, and he gave off a cry that till today, I can honestly say it resonates, it rings in my head. I can hear his cry. It's so perfectly clear of his cry. That was 2 years ago, and I can still hear him. And it never changes. He cried, and I looked at him, I saw how perfect he was, how beautiful he was. And I looked at him. I myself start crying. My wife cried and I cried. I had a face mask on, and it was drenched. It was so wet because I was crying. I couldn't believe that this perfect being came out, and it was my son. On episode 5, I introduced the sibling series. I invited my siblings to come on a podcast and talk to the audience and just tell everybody their stories, because everybody has their own interpretation of things. Everybody had their interpretation of how things have gone. I had my own views of things when I was growing up, and so did my siblings. And in total, with my mom, there are 6 of us, so I was able to have at least 4 of them come to the podcast and able to tell you their stories, to tell you their journeys, and I was so happy about that. And this one is from Gael, and she's able to tell us the struggles that she went through. She's able to share with us the emotional and mental effects of not having our dad in her life.
I think I would tell him that I would say, Papa, I needed you. I think that's something I would have definitely said, that I needed you, because there's a certain type of bond that a daughter has with her father, and I think that's why, I gravitate towards the person that I started dating, was the simple fact of how the relationship that he has with his daughter. So seeing that relationship, it was an automatic attraction, because anytime I see a father and daughter relationship, I think it's such a beautiful thing. Even when
Gael also teaches based on how she wanted or liked or would like my older brother to play the role of the father. I know she mentioned that how it was his duty as the older brother to step into the father role because my father wasn't there.
Since my dad wasn't around, then maybe my oldest brothers, especially my eldest brother, I always felt like P should have stepped up and said and took charge, where it's just like, nah, that's my sister. Like, this is how you should be treated. You're my sister. This is how I see you. Like, I think I never got those talks with the men in my family to understand my value. And I'm not saying you need someone to tell you what your value is, but then growing up how we grew up, I just felt like, okay, dad is not around, papa's not around, then it's up to it's up to Peggy, it's his job to like step in and do this and do that. But then for me, it was, again, because my dad wasn't around, because papa wasn't around, the role that I was taking on was, you became automatically the second mother.
On episode 7, I had to sit down with my younger brother, Emmanuel, one of my younger brother, Emmanuel, and he was referencing to becoming a better version of yourself, not only for you, but for your kids. Being better and have a better outlook on life for your kids and not only for yourself.
I want her to remember me as the dad who was strict, but she can always come. They could always come to me. A dad who sacrificed for them and who financially set their future for them, who put them on a path to be very, how do I say this, not dependent on loans or on other stuff. When my first daughter was born, it's funny, I started thinking about death when she was born, and it was my death. Like, if I die now, what I'm gonna leave for her? Or when I die when I'm 60, or when I'm 80, what I'm gonna leave for her? So that was the thing that I always, and I still think about it to this day. How can I financially, and how can I shape her to be a woman that's prepared for this world whenever I do depart? I mentioned earlier, I'm very good at finance, so I'm always try to just set aside some money for them. Invest some money in for them, just so they can be financially ready after college, because college is only going to get more expensive. So for these kids, my two girls. I just want them to know that I was the fun dad, just like I'm the fun Uncle G. And I just want to be the greatest dad to them.
You know, so for most of these episodes, especially with the sibling series, it taught me a lot, and I'm still learning a lot about my siblings and the journey that it took, or we took, and their perspective on it. But to tell you the truth, I feel like I learned more interviewing my younger sister Barbara. She's the youngest out of the bunch, and I just feel like everything was a little bit more clear as she told me her story, because she's the youngest, so I had my own interpretation of things where she was just like either spoiled or had got all the treatments, you know, all the special treatments from my parents. As a younger child, you generally get the full attention, and then having to sit down with her, and she was able to tell me her point of view about the way things are, or the way it looks is not exactly what it seems. And I learned so much, and I was just so intrigued when she was talking about certain particular cases. And I was enlightened. I was just kind of at wow, because I was just like, I thought I knew who you were, and I thought I knew who all my siblings were. But, you know, having to sit down with her just gave me a different perspective. It just gave me a different view of the life that she lived and the life that she was living. And just didn't know her part in it.
I feel like life throws you curveballs, and then you end up being in a situation that tests all that. That breaks you down into realizing, okay, you know what? You're not so strong. This is gonna break you down either way or not. And for me, my dad not being around hit me the most in my previous relationship. I don't know if it was meant to happen, but I'm happy that it did, because my relationship with my child's father taught me a lot about what it's like to not have a dad around.
Okay.
So for me, I learned a lot from knowing that when you're growing up, people always tell you your dad is supposed to be your protector. Your dad is supposed to be someone who takes care of you, somebody who tells you you're beautiful. He's supposed to be your first love. And for me, I searched through that through a man. When a man knows that you're damaged, and he knows that you are searching for fulfillment from a male figure, for me, they take advantage of you. And a lot of times, the person would hurt, and I would think it's okay because I felt like that's all that was out there, because I was conditioned to think that way since I was younger.
Now, my older brother came on, Peggy. He came on and he pretty much expressed how it felt to be an older brother and play the role of being a father, of trying to become a father, trying to play the role of a father, which was not very easy in itself. And I found it fascinating that he wanted to play that role. I think society and, you know, culture-wise, that, you know, if the father's not there, the firstborn son take charge and lead the family, which I think is a huge responsibility to carry on as at an early age. It's hard to become a dad when you don't even know what a dad is. It's hard for you to play a father role. We don't know what's a father role when you're that young. So it was kind of hard for me to actually expect that from him. I know one of my siblings, my sister Gael, was saying that, you know, as the older brother, my brother should be, or he should have taken that role of being a father figure. But in my half, I just didn't think it was fair for him to play a brother and a father. You can't play a father role if you don't know that role. You're too young to know what needs to get done. But overall, I think he did a good job. I believe he tried his best.
It was tough, man, because me being the oldest, is that as I get older and I don't see him, it's like I'm kind of forced upon to not just take the role of being, a brother or older brother, but I'm trying to figure out, should I be like a father figure to my younger brother or my younger sisters? Like, what role am I supposed to play? So I'm like confused I'm trying to balance the two. Like, okay, he's not around. I'm the oldest. I'm supposed to take charge because, that's what a older son's supposed to do. So it was very tough, man. And I didn't really want to occupy myself with being a father, really, because I didn't understand it. I don't know what it was, what I'm supposed to do. I know I could be a brother, I could be, a friend, but as far as playing the role of a father, I didn't know. And if it kind of, I started to feel that pressure when I was around 14 years old, 13, 14 years old, which is very young, because, it happens.
Now, I was able to get three other of my siblings on this podcast from a different mom, same dad, different mom, and I was so happy to have them on the podcast, and they were able to express that as well. John is the third out of his brothers. He's the last one, the baby one of the family, on his side of the family, on his mom's side, and he was able to come and express pretty much what happened when you have become part of your dad you wish or vow never to become. So, there are some experiences in our lives that we say we're never going to happen, or we don't want to be like our parents. But, what happened when we make that mistake? What happened when we do that same mistake that our parent has or our dad that has? Do we look back and say, oh, I'm going to beat myself up? Or do we look forward and say, okay, you know what? My dad was in the same position. He did not capitalize on that, but I'm going to do better. And I think that's what John is trying to do right now with his situation, with dealing with the same situation that he came across. He's trying to do better. He's not going to do the same thing that I know my father did. So he's going to attempt and try his best to change that dynamic. In this episode, John also mentioned this interesting thing where he said that, maybe one day our dad will forget about him. There'll be one day that he just don't show up anymore. And I think that part kind of stood out to me because it was kind of, it's different when your dad you see him sporadically, and that one day, and he has another family, and that one day, he might not come back, or the day that he decides to not come back for a while, you just think that he's never going to come back. And you just think about that. I think that's a heavy burden to even think about, to just put on yourself, to just think about if your dad is not going to come back anymore. So the question is, what do you do?
Okay, now I understand. This guy that got 12 kids. So in my head, I always have in my head that one day he probably gonna forget about us in Haiti. I'm like, first off, we're not even around him. Yeah, he comes here once in a while to come see us. He send us money when I don't know if when he has or when he remember. Mm-hmm. He send us money, he send us food, furniture, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, when he doesn't do any of that, I'm like, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's that day that he just
forget. Right.
That it wasn't a problem for me anymore when he does that.
Okay.
Because my mom,
was everything.
We need a mom podcast for that whole story. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
So episode 12 was about my sister, Fafa, which is John's older sister. And she was referring to a time that some hardship that she went through. And that one particularly stood out for me was when she was referring to when she didn't have anything to eat at home and spending pretty much half the day of not eating anything. And it stood out to me a lot because I know I went through that myself, and it's not easy, going through the day without having something to eat or not knowing when the next food comes around. And I relate to that really, really, really closely because, again, I to some degree, I feel like we went through that, or I went through that. We went through a hardship of not having breakfast in the morning, where we had to go to after school programs or summer program just for us to have breakfast in the morning because there wasn't anything to eat at the house. So I really, really resonate with her story about not being able to eat at times.
I remember some days we wake up in the morning We have nothing to eat.
Hmm.
Nothing. Nothing. And you just wake up, we brush our teeth, and we're waiting for our mother to come home with something. And when she went out, she said, okay, I'm coming. 1, 2, 3 p.m., 3 p.m., and she coming at 6 or 7. She come with sometimes someone give him here it's change, some change, and she bring she bring a little bottle of oil and a package of white rice and 2 avocado. And she cook it and we eat it. You know, this day I don't know. For me the food was good. The food was good. The white rice with the avocado. Yeah, I enjoy it. I don't know why, but it was a delight. But thanks God. Now it's the past, but it's still there.
Now, episode 13 was when Edwin. Edwin is my other half brother from a different mom as well. Not John's mom or my mom. It's a different mom as well. And with him, he doesn't have another sibling with my father and his mom, so it's only him. And his dynamic is that he didn't have any time with us. And even before that, he was just saying that he doesn't have any bad thoughts about my dad. It's that whenever my dad was able to see him, he was able to see him, and that was pretty much it. And another thing that kind of stood out to me was just that he was stating that, you know, he wanted to spend more time with us. When I say us, I mean, you know, my brothers and my immediate brothers and my sisters and the cousins, but he couldn't spend more time with us. And that literally, for me, played a role, because I didn't know that that's what he craved, and I didn't know that's what he wanted. That's what he needed, because, you know, I know I have my brothers and sisters next to me every day, but he didn't really have anyone. He had his other half brother, but I don't think they had a relationship. But for him to verbally say that, you know, I wanted to spend more time with you guys, I wanted to be around you guys because you guys are my family, and I always look forward to that. So that kind of like literally, that really played a role for me. That was an epic part for me to pay attention to.
I always felt like I was not in few guys. To be honest, it was, you know, I always felt like you guys over there and I'm over here. I know at first I looked at that, you know, something bad and wrong, but the older I got, the more I realized that's just how our lives were put together than fate. And the way I felt about it wasn't, you know, something that made me feel bitter or have any malintent against anyone, random or close. But I did feel like I was, you know, out of the circle per se. I wasn't in the family circle.
All right, guys. So this was more of a wrap up of season 1. The idea that I have in the beginning of the podcast was not what it became to be. It became something better, something stronger, something sweeter than I imagined, and I love it. It took its own direction, and I love it. And the direction that is going to be going for season 2 is pretty much started already. So I already start recording and I already start having people and interviews, and it's going to be great. And season 2 is going to be really, really great. So I hope that you guys continue doing what you're doing, continue subscribing, continue liking, and continue sharing, guys. And I'm putting it out there for those of you who have a story to tell. We are introducing a new platform for you to share your stories. Or if you want to do a poem, or if you want to do a interview yourself, or just share your story by text or email, or leave me a voicemail, whichever way, guys, I'm here. So I just want to give you a wrap up of season 1, And season 2 is going to be phenomenal. So stay tuned, guys. I will catch you guys in a few. Bye. Okay, guys, if you want to keep up or listen to more of this podcast, you can go to Google Play, Stitcher, Apple, and Spotify. And, of course, on social media as far as Instagram. Catch you later.